the first problem with this situation is that you accepted a job expecting a salary raise without getting that in writing. Now, the first rule of business is whenever you're making terms, always get everything in writing. Hey all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I actually have a couple of pretty interesting stories here today that both of them are in the realm of compensation, which, when you are negotiating with employers is obviously a very, very important part to make sure that you're being paid properly. And I think in a lot of cases people go about the compensation conversation like very, very wrong. So kind of to give some feedback to that, make sure that you're having the conversation right when you are looking for a job. I've got these two stories here. So first one up is this person was promised a salary raise that has been postponed. So just to kind of jump right in, hello, I am a mechanical engineer who started a role at a small company around 3 months ago. I had a master's and around 6 months of experience in the medical device field when interviewing. When joining, I was given the offer of $85,000. I asked for $90,000, cited various regional and national statistics and my experience, etc. They said, I'm happy to reevaluate your salary after 90 days. Would that work for you? I agreed. At the time, at least to me, it seemed like we don't know what you're like. If you're good, we'll give you the raise. I worked hard, kicked butt at the job, serious butt, great reports. Everybody's happy with my performance. Projects stalled for months were completed in unreasonable deadlines at breakneck speeds and with excellent quality work. I did this to prove my worth and ask to negotiate for $95,000 if possible after the 3-month period instead of $90,000. I know that I didn't promise that amount, but I am new and I thought I could prove valuable. Post the probation period, when times come for the raise, boss says we'll give it to you in January because the company's at a loss right now. So, before even jumping into the questions that this person had asked and like addressing those, the first problem with this situation is that you accepted a job expecting a salary raise without getting that in writing. Now, the first rule of business is whenever you're making terms, always get everything in writing, right? And it's kind of biting you and this person in the butt because they're expecting 90,000. I mean, and it's not like it's that much more. It's an extra $400 per month, but that could be significant to them. But they don't feel like they're being paid properly. And if you came in expecting $90,000 after 3 months and now they're postponing that, well, that's kind of the first rule of business. You don't have it in writing. I assume that you were given an offer letter with the salary set at $85,000 with nothing mentioned about the pay increase after 90 days. So, or even having your pay reevaluated after 90 days with like an intention of increasing to 90,000. This is incredibly important. There's a reason, like for example, when HR reps are working on certain situations, they write anything and everything down because this covers their butts, right? To make sure that everything that needs to be done will be done, or if there's reasoning for something not moving forward, which in this case, like you could have had certain metrics that you had to meet within those first 90 days to get the $90,000 salary. And that would have been like reasonable for an increase or not increasing your salary. So now because nothing's in writing, this person, they have no grounds to demand it, and the company has no obligation to increase their compensation if they don't want to do so. And the second piece of this that I see that's in some capacity a pretty big issue is they're now promising that they'll increase the salary in January. What changes in January? I mean, if the person were to move forward with this, I would highly suggest getting this in some sort of writing Some companies and organizations, I don't think it's necessarily that common, but some will, if they're doing like a merit increase, for example, or like a salary adjustment, they might put this in writing in like a letter: as of X date, your salary will be increased to X. So it's very, very clearly outlined, and that there are no issues. It's just another way that companies are able to cover their butts if they're giving somebody a salary increase, right? So kind of to jump into the questions, because this person does bring up some pretty valid concerns. So my questions are: what are my options? I want to negotiate and make a case for $95,000 because I know what I'm worth. Any advice is appreciated. Firstly, if you know the market is at $95,000 for what you're able to accomplish for your company and the expertise that you're providing, then you negotiate for $95,000. I mean, if they find another person who's competent, and I'm not saying that they wouldn't be able to find another employee that is not willing to work at the same or less than you are, but kind of the note that goes into that is: what kind of quality are they getting if someone is willing to take less for what the market actually pays for a job, right? So the quality, when you pay less, quality goes down. That's kind of one piece there. So you can make the argument for $95,000 if it makes sense for the market. Can't promise that they'll accept that, though. The second question: if they can't offer me a few $100s extra for the remainder of the 2 months without going under, how stable is my job? It's a very small team, and I think they really can't afford to lose any engineers given the amount of work they've taken up. And that's reasonable. That was actually something that I was going to bring up. $85,000 and $90,000 yearly, that's $400 per month, right? So if they can't pay you, we're in October right now, right? So we're about to be starting November next week. If they can't pay you an extra, $400 a month over 2 months, I mean, if they can't expend $800 just for 2 months until the end of the year, I mean, that does seem like an issue. How are they, if they can't pay you $800 for the rest of the year now, what's going to change in January that suddenly makes them able to afford increasing your salary by $5,000 the next year? It seems like a very weak excuse, and it just seems like a delay. In some cases, it might make sense. Like if they're in the red and they absolutely can't afford it, if there is a new quarter coming up, fine, maybe wait till next quarter. But I don't anticipate that anything's going to be changing in January reading this situation. So it's a little bit funny. I wouldn't think it's appropriate, though, to ask for a payback or bonus to answer the third question there. If they're not willing to pay it now, they're probably not going to be willing to pay it later. So, my idea with it is, in this situation, even though you're feeling stressed out about potentially leaving, I don't think it's inappropriate to start looking for a new job at this point that's going to pay you what you're worth. Engineering is a very competitive market, and if someone else is willing to pay you more for the same work, or in some cases less stressful work, because it sounds like you busted your butt, you might as well go for it. This is a common thing. Like if don't feel bad if an employer is not able to pay you what you think you're worth. We have a market out there for a reason. So just me, I would start looking for a new job in this situation, and interviewing, etc., and seeing what others are willing to pay you. And you never know, if you really like this company, you might be able to go to them if you get like an offer, or they want to move forward with references. Hey, I'm moving forward with references, or this company made me an offer. I'd really prefer to stay here. Can you raise my salary? And a lot of people will mention going for a counter offer is not like the best idea, because then it shows that you're not loyal to the company. Well, they're not loyal to you. United States, it's at-will employment, and I'm assuming that this person is from the United States, but that's how at-will employment goes. You can essentially be let go for anything at any time, and as an employee, you can terminate your employment at any time because you are not contracted. So that's kind of the big piece there. That's just my thoughts on this first piece. to hop into the second story here, which this one was interesting. So this person wants to know if they should ask for a raise or quit. So I was hired at a large-scale hospitality service company who was opening a new retirement location, where I started out in a front desk position while their restaurant facility on site was still under construction. My background was hospitality, hotel housekeeping, and food and events. And I was quickly promoted as the restaurant supervisor and worked alongside the restaurant and service unit manager to get everything up and running from the ground up. We both worked tirelessly to get it open, and I took a lot of extra tasks that my manager couldn't complete due to her being pregnant. Once the restaurant opened, my manager left for her maternity leave that will require her to work out of work for 1 year. She mentioned that she wanted me to take her position when she leaves. I had all the qualifications, and since working directly with her to start up the restaurant on site, I knew the admin position she also oversaw. She said she trusted I could take care of things while she was away. However, once she left, it was brought to my attention from multiple people that a front desk associate who was also there at the beginning is pushing for her to take the now available position, and a district manager she is friends with handed her the role. The person I would now need to report to has no experience in hospitality, restaurant, or hotel housekeeping, which are all job requirements, and all the manager's duties for the entire restaurant and housekeeping will now fall on me because the new manager is not qualified to handle the responsibilities. I'm also getting paid much less and do things my manager would have normally done and help guide this new manager. The staff on site are also very concerned because this person is not qualified or organized for her original position and has made countless mistakes that have made the facility look bad to the customer many times. I'm not sure if I should stay and ask for a raise dealing with the additional responsibilities of running this entirety of food service and housekeeping for the unit, or quit because I feel so insulted they picked her over myself. I'm worried about other staff, as a few have talked about quitting over this as well. So coming from a background, I did around 4 years of restaurant management. It was not fun whatsoever, I will say. It got me through school, but this is a tough situation. I mean, I'm not sure what your job market looks like where you are, and what options for restaurant or hospitality are around you. But I would be disrespected as well if I showed good leadership, was able to handle the position that my manager was doing, and actually assisted my manager in doing this, and now they're going out on leave and there's a vacancy, and then they choose someone who's just not qualified whatsoever. It happens. It is a slap in the face. So I don't think it's worth it to ask for a raise. You might get more money, but is it going to be as much or even equivalent to what your job description entails? Probably not. So, in a case like this, I do think it's appropriate to, pick up and go and try to go elsewhere. It makes the most sense. And to kind of just look back over, both of these stories, I mean, more so probably the first one, I really feel like a lot of people don't negotiate their salary properly when they're searching for a job. So if there's kind of one piece of advice that I can give, and when I've worked with countless amount of people and consulting and telling people how to go about making a direction for their career and getting more compensation, don't put a price on yourself. If you know what the market pays, right, it's best for you to vet what the company is willing to pay. So when a recruiter or a manager or an HR rep or whatever, they ask you what you're looking for compensation wise, the best thing that you can say, or even not even say, this is more of a question, but you can ask, what's the salary range of the position? That way right from the get-go whether or not you're going to get scalped. I mean, like if I'm an engineer and I know that the market pays $100,000 for engineers, and I ask, what's the salary range on this position, and the representative that's working with me comes back and says, oh, hey, well, we're looking around like 80 to 85,000 for the opportunity, I can come back and rebut and say, well, the market, you're about like $15,000 to $20,000 short there, so I'm going to look at other opportunities at this point in time, and you essentially dodge a bullet. one of two things happen there. You don't move forward with the position, and you're not being, you know, scalped on what like the market actually pays, or they'll come back to you and they'll say, you know, hey, you have some really great experience. Maybe we can stretch the salary a little bit further to like 95,000, and then you're kind of within the range of what you're looking for. You know, so it's kind of always the best way to go about the compensation picture. But yeah, well, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have a certain topic that you want me to cover kind of within the employment spectrum, feel free to, you know, comment below or send me a message. And yeah, thanks for watching.